Alex. Welcome to b.Brilliant. Do you like making things? Maybe you've wondered how technology works or how kids like us can help the environment. Together with my fellow makers, we'll ask good questions, make our technology, and help find solutions that can change our world. Mr. Lingley, what's this?
Oh, hi makers. Yeah, Alex, don't worry about it. You see, I'm working on a top secret project for b.Brilliant. And BB, our lab's AI, it seems like she has a question from a student.
Hey BB, today's code word is pollinators.
That's correct, Alex. Here's a question for Mr. Lingley from Bathurst, New Brunswick. Ryan asks, what is a pollinator?
Okay, that's a really good question, Ryan. Let's see if BB knows. BB, what's a pollinator?
A pollinator is an animal that causes plants to make fruit or seeds.
Yeah, BB, that's only mostly right. You see, there are all kinds of different pollinators in the world, from bees to beetles to moths, even hummingbirds and bats. And today on b.Brilliant, we're going to learn all about pollinators. We're going to make a bee hotel. We're going to code a thermometer to learn about the temperature inside a beehive. And we're going to talk to an entomologist who is a scientist who studies insects.
Thanks, Mr. Lingley. You may already know, the United Nations has 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Today, we'll explore goal number 15, life on land, and how kids can help pollinators. First, let's go visit Bram in Nova Scotia to see what's buzzin'.
Okay, Bram, let's have a look, see what we can find.
Why is there a fly on that flower?
Why is there a fly in this flower? Well, this is a fly that's pollinating. So we know
I thought
that
only bees pollinated though.
Well, we have all kinds of different insects that pollinate. Moths, flies, beetles, bees, and we even have some animals like birds and bats that pollinate too. And you can see here, this is an allium, so it's the type of an onion. And you can see when you look close, it's covered in seeds. All kinds of seeds, and that's because earlier in the year, these were just covered in bees all over them all the time. Oh, here's a nice big bumblebee. You can see it down there flying between the different kinds of flowers. And right now we have all different types of bumblebees around. Some are the queens, some are the males, and some are the workers. So it's pretty fun to watch them. They love these purple, blue thistle flowers. So Brandon, this red flower here, hummingbirds love the color red. This is a bee balm. This is a native plant to North America. And hummingbirds will stick their little beaks in there and use their tongue to drink nectar out of those flowers. And they're here almost every morning. Right now it's a bit too hot for the hummingbirds, so you probably won't see any.
Well, what can we do to help the pollinators?
Well, Bram, one thing you can do to help pollinators is by planting a few plants wherever you have space to do so. And native plants work best because those are the plants that the native pollinators have evolved to grow with. So whenever you can, it's best to plant a native species of plant, but really anything with a flower is good. And you can watch wherever your particular area is. You might see that some plants are really good for pollinators, some plants aren't used so often, so you can kind of tweak it and based on your own experiences and observations and see what do pollinators in your area like best. But there are all kinds of great resources available that can tell you what species of plant to plant.
Paul's taught me that there are many different types of pollinators. Bees, flies, butterflies, wasps, bats, and even other types of mammals. They thrive on a big variety of plants, so we can help them out by planting native plants. This is the seed pod that Paul gave me that he said was really good for pollinators. I'm going to plant it in my own garden so that pollinators will come to my region.
Activity completed. Badge unlocked.
Thanks, Bram. Some pollinators, like solitary bees, live alone. They need safe places to make their nests. Let's visit Sabrina to learn how to make a bee hotel.
So this is a mason bee hotel. We're making one because They generally live in old logs and brush for gardens, and with today's culture we keep our gardens so tidy they don't have a lot of places to make a place to live. So in this bee hotel we fill it with pieces of branch, flower stems, and also rolled up newspaper that you can use at home.
That looks really cool. Why do you have to have like those holes in there?
So the holes are where the mason bees go. You have to keep them between 5 millimeters and 10 millimeters. A pencil or a pen works perfectly to wrap your paper in. And that's what will draw them to your bee hotel, and they will crawl right in there and do their thing.
Wow, that's really cool.
You can also use this as well.
Oh, that's a Japanese knotweed.
They make perfect little homes for mason bees. As you can see, the old ones break pretty easily, and you have a perfect hole there for them to make their homes.
It looks just like the newspapers.
Yeah, so basically what you want to do is you break them down to size, and you just put them in your bee hotel. You fill it up until it looks nice and full like this. You can also use newspaper as well if you can't find any Japanese knotweed, or it's a winter day and you can't get outside for twigs. So same thing, you want to make sure it's roughly the height of your can. Just rip it down to size. You'll just grab a pencil and just roll it up here. You want to roll it at least 5 times so there's enough insulation for the bees to stay warm. And then, yeah, you just rip it, grab a piece of tape, seal it off, and then just take your pencil out. And then there you go.
I think it's also a great way to recycle old newspapers.
Yeah, it's great if you have any old magazines or newspapers laying around that you're just gonna throw it anyways. So we used a recycled coffee can here and soup can. But you can also use different things, pop cans, bottles, anything with a back really that you can, that will protect them from other insects or pests that could disturb them.
Here's the finished bee hotel. Thanks, Dave.
That bee hotel was super inspiring. I bet we can continue to make bees efficient and even healthy. And I wonder, what if we code a thermometer inside the beehive? Let's go to Newfoundland and do that.
Hi, I'm Megan.
And I'm Caitlin.
And today we're going to visit Catherine and her bees to see what they need to stay healthy.
Hi girls.
Hi.
How nice of you to come by to see my beehives. And I understand that you're interested in what honeybees do and what other bees do.
Yep.
They gather nectar from the flowers and the flower buds on the trees and in the flowers, and they gather pollen from them too. So as they go around, they actually pollinate the different plants. Now, the other thing that they do is they're always keeping the hive the same temperature. In many places here in Canada, it can get really hot in the summer for a long period of time. And 30 is a good temperature, but if it gets to be too hot, the bees have to cool it down a bit inside. And so they will be fanning their wings and taking care of the temperature that's inside the hive.
I bet we can use a microcontroller to help keep an eye on the temperature. And even keep the bees cool. Catherine told us that the bees can't work if the beehive gets too hot.
Yeah, 30 degrees is too hot for them to work.
Let's go make the microcontroller so Catherine can easily keep track of the temperature in the beehive. Okay, so first I'm gonna unscrew these, and Caitlin is going to put the wires in.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. We should put the clipboard in. Right, so it is a temp log clipboard. There it is. So fun. It has a cloud. I like the cloud. And the sun. The battery pack. Okay.
And then we need to put this in. Here we go.
Thank you. And put that in here. And then put that in.
I am going to put this right in this little slot down here and plug this into the computer. So first we're going to go into clipboard and temp log, and then pull out the first one and the second one. And then we're going to go into radio set group and pull out the first one there, radio set group 1. But when you put it in start, you're going to change the number to 10. There should be like a flashing dot on the bee board underneath on the microbit, and if it gets hot over 25, and then it'll turn on the fan. Is on.
Wow, it'll automatically turn the fan on that you've got inside the hive.
Yep.
So that should try and help to cool it down. It makes the air circulate a bit.
Yep.
That is excellent. And you're going to let me try this out in my hive, are you?
Yes.
What we have in here is a feeder, and there's lots of room in there for your little machine.
And let's see if it works.
There we go. Cool. Let's see what it says next. Come on. 27.4.
It's getting warmer.
5.45. So it's heating up.
Thanks for joining us. Goodbye, Mr. Lingley.
Bye, Alex. BB, I think you're gonna get this next one right.
Make sure to check out brilliantlabs.ca for all of today's activities and how-to guides. And don't forget to submit your questions to BB. You never know, your question could be featured on an upcoming b.Brilliant show.
Nice try, Mr. Lingley.